Hello, 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 welcome back to Hunter Tuned, episode 3 of turboing my Integra in the driveway. Today we're going to work on the intercooler piping and try to get this thing fired up. So I'm going to do the piping off of the hot side first. So we have our compressor bolts on the turbo loosened up. So on the compressor housing there's like, I don't know, 6 bolts that you got to loosen up so we can move the compressor housing up and down like this. And we're going to kind of position it wherever we think we need it. So I did have to buy 2 additional things that I did not talk about in the what parts to buy for 600 horsepower video on your K series. But I did buy 2 45 degree 2.5 inch couplers off of Amazon. I think these were like 10 bucks a piece. So one of these 45s is actually going to go off of the turbo itself. So I'm going to position this on here, something like this. And I'm just going to kind of mock this stuff up real quick and show you guys what I'm thinking for piping. So that's going to sit on there, something like that. Then we're going to grab a 90.
False alarm.
What?
You did it wrong, huh?
Yeah, I did, maybe. I don't know. This, these Amazon couplers, you want to yank?
Oh, with one hand? Oh, muscles.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
I think you need to twist and pull.
Yeah, these Amazon couplers fit way snug compared to the eBay ones.
Do you need that or
Amazon's
not?
got thicker,
Or can she play with it?
yeah, she can play with it.
What is it?
The handle for my tool.
Oh, you don't need this?
I mean, I probably do.
Oh, sorry, honey. You can't have that. Get your toy. You have lots of toys. Get your ball. Oh, you're almost there.
Yeah. It's literally. Eh.
Good job.
Okay. So, if we put a 90-degree pipe in here, something like this, I think that will work good. Just gotta think, because I only have 2. I only have 2 of these 90s, and I have to use them sparingly because I also need a 90 off of the throttle body. So we're gonna have this sit like that. Obviously we're gonna have to trim this down. So I'm gonna take a Sawzall and I'm gonna cut these to length. What were you filming there?
The parts.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't know your face needed to be in it, you narcissist.
Whoa, too far. People like your sass, but that was a little much.
I was just kidding.
So we're gonna have to cut this pipe down, probably to about right here, and then we will put this into the coupler, but I'm just gonna kind of get an idea. So that pipe's gonna go there. Then I think I'm gonna use one of these 90-degree boots off of it. So if you wanna come over here.
Of course. Now I feel like I need to be really nice.
That's gonna fit on there, something like that. But then we also need another 90.
Uh-oh.
That
I
sucks.
think you're gonna end up with a new parts list.
I'm gonna figure this out real quick and I'll get back to you guys. All right, we're gonna do the cold side first. It's a little bit easier. I know exactly what needs to go there. So we're gonna take one of these U pipes with a straight coupler, and that's gonna go on to the bottom side of the intercooler here. Something just like that. And then on the opposite side, you can see it comes out into the engine bay right here. In the engine bay, I'm going to take a 90-degree coupler, this boot, that. Okay, and then we're gonna take this 90 that I was talking about. See, we got to cut this pipe down quite a bit, probably to about here. My measuring skills are, you know, mark it like that. Take your thumb, grab the sawzall.
Oh, do you want me to follow? Is that gonna be really loud? Where was your step 2?
In the fridge.
I meant your safety glasses, silly goose.
Okay, so we're gonna clean the shavings out of here. We'll clean the shavings in a minute. I just wanna, like I said, mock this up. So that's gonna fit into here. Just like that, and then this one.
Do you need me to do something for you?
No. Okay. So there's the cold side, all done. You can see straight coupler off of the intercooler to a U, and then into the engine bay. We did a 90-degree boot, and then a 90-degree pipe, and then a straight fitting at the throttle body. So now we know.
Can I tell my dad joke quick?
What's that?
I was gonna say, what brand of boot is that? Uggs? Nothing? Not even a chuckle?
You don't laugh at my jokes. And I'm new boo goofing today.
Look at those sharp little guys.
Okay, so now we got to figure out what we got to do over here. We have one 90-degree pipe left. Okay, so we're going to need another 45 coupler to go off the intercooler because this intercooler has a 45 down. So we're going to put this guy on here. And that's going to make so our pipe can come straight off, sort of. So instead of the 90-degree pipe off of here, I'm gonna have to go with a 45. So we're gonna 45 it off of here, and that's gonna go down. But then when we get down here, you can see we probably should have another 45 coming off of this. So I think, stay, fucker. I think a 90 will work. So we're gonna go 90-degree boot off of here. Something like that. And then up here, we'll have to cut this pipe down, just like we did on this one. We'll cut this one down, probably right there. Slide it into the coupler, and then off of here, we'll have to take our last piece, that last 90, and we'll have to cut it to size wherever the coupling is going to be. So I'm gonna start off, I'll cut this one probably right here. Okay, just like that. We're gonna kind of eye up where this has to be. So on this end, we'll have to cut it, okay, probably about right here. We got this piece cut. Now we just have to cut the other end. So we're gonna slide this in here. Just like that. And we will decipher right about here ish is where we have to make our final cut. Voila. How long did that take?
9 minutes.
15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So all intercooler piping is now going to be all set to go. So I'm obviously going to have to put clamps on all of this and on the pieces that I cut. So typically these pipes come with a flared end. So I'll have to take the parts I cut and flare the edge. And a hillbilly way to do it is I just take a piece of pliers and I bend a lip on the edge of the pipe here, which I'll probably do. But yeah, for boost levels under like 20 pounds, if you just have good clamps and couplers, that's good enough. But above 20 pounds, you definitely gotta, you know, bead roll this, or, you know, be a hillbilly and bend it with the pliers, which is probably what I'll do. So next, we're going to mark where we need the blow-off valve. But this goes up here. I'm going to put this piece back on temporarily. So this piping is going to sit something like this. Where do you think it's going to look the best? To the side?
What are my options?
Inside? Out here? Like something like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take our blow-off valve with the flange on it. I'm going to stick it on here like this, and I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to draw where we need to cut the hole. The neighbor lady is trying to get her dogs in. If you guys can hear that in the background. Yes, that's a car alarm. That's how she gets them in. So now we have the area where the blow-off valve is going to fit. So now I'm going to take this piece of pipe and this blow-off valve over to the fabricator, because I cannot aluminum weld. And he's available today.
Who? Jacob.
Defiant. They did.
Guile.
Yeah.
You really should take Roxy to the dog park, though, to socialize. What time is it? I really have to get ready for work.
Good. We're good. I got all I needed
Cut.
to do.
Is there anything else you want to say?
All right, just stopped over at Team Defiant, and I got my blow-off valve all welded up. Nick over here pounded this out for me. Looks awesome. So yeah, huge shout out to Team Defiant for getting me in so quick to get this blow-off valve welded. Now we're going to head back, get the intercooler piping all buttoned back up, hopefully get this thing started. All right, guys, a little update on the Integra. I just got back, well, I got back yesterday from Defiant. Nick over there helped me weld the VS Racing blow-off valve to the intercooler piping, and I got that done. So shout out to Nick at Defiant for helping me out. And I kind of jumped ahead a few steps, and last night I just kind of went ham on this thing and finished it up, or almost finished it up, and I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what I've done. You guys saw in the previous clips me kind of just eyeballing the intercooler piping and, you know, mocking it up, and those same exact cuts that I made on camera are what you see here right now. So I got them all installed onto the car. So this is how it's all looking. This is where I put the blow-off valve. Everything's looking really nice. Nothing's touching. I actually have some zip ties holding some of these pipes because you want to make sure that your pipes aren't going to rub metal on metal anywhere, because over time, you know, if they are touching, just resting here, when you're driving the car, it's just going to wear a hole through that pipe eventually. So all these pipes are extremely solid. It's actually a little close back here, so I might have to do something about that. Another thing you can do is put vacuum line, cut it in half, and run it around any of the sharp edges so the pipe doesn't sit directly on the metal. It sits on a piece of vacuum line or something like that. Also got the radiator hose installed. I have this thing all filled up with coolant. I had a little coolant leak initially when I got it all filled up. It's been raining the last couple days. That's why there's a little surface rust on the turbo. That'll burn off. But I did have a little coolant leak right at the heater core. One of my clamps, one of the outlets on the heater core actually has a, I don't know, when they clamped it initially, they might have grabbed the hose with the pliers to pull it off. I always recommend when you pull heater hose lines off of the core to cut them with a razor blade. Don't try to grab them with a pliers and twist, because the fittings coming out of the heater core are usually copper or brass, really soft metal, and when you grab the hose with the pliers, you actually damage the piece connection coming out of the heater core. And when that happens, when you put the new hose on and clamp it, it doesn't have a true circle to have the hose sit on, and usually ends up in a leak like this one did. So I was lucky, and I would just kind of crank the hose a little bit tighter, and it's sealed up, thankfully. So that was one little issue that I ran into. Some other stuff that I did is I actually took the throttle body off, and when I got this car from Phil, this just had like a bunch of, it was like tinfoil tape to kind of block off this port and the bottom port. I think the bottom port is idle air control, and this is like, I don't know, evap or something up top. So I pulled the bottom port off and I plugged it full of JB Weld, because the hole being open before with just that tape was fine all motor, but with boost it's going to be pressurized on that spot, and I guarantee you would have blew that tape out of there in no time. So I just went through and I JB welded the inside of the throttle body where the port was that goes to idle air. I just kind of capped that off. I might eventually take the throttle body off and like actually weld it shut, but I just put JB Weld in there for now. And Phil actually did that already up top on this port. So this port was done, but I plugged the bottom shut with JB Weld because this car doesn't have an idle air control valve. So I did that, pulled the throttle body off and did all that. I also added an 1/8 inch NPT 90 to here. This is a vacuum source on the top. This was plugged with a bolt previously, so I put a 90-degree 1/8 inch pipe fitting in after I tapped it, and I put a hose barb and this vacuum line that runs over to my AEM fuel pressure regulator, because this car was not vacuum referenced fuel pressure previously, which is, like I said, fine for all motor, but with a turbo and boost, you need fuel pressure to rise with the boost pressure. So adding a vacuum source or a boost source to the fuel pressure regulator will help keep the fuel in the motor. So I got that vacuum line ran. This is actually a piece of washer line that I pulled off of the washer tank that I had to remove to put this intercooler pipe in. I kind of just used what I had, honestly. I didn't feel like running to the store because usually when I'm working on stuff, it's like, I don't know what time it is right now, like almost 3 in the morning. I tend to be a third shifter lately just because my fiance, Christine, she actually works third shift and she's been at work the last couple nights. So I've just been kind of tinkering on this while she's at work, and the weather has been beautiful. I can actually sit outside in a sweatshirt and not be freezing my ass off. It's like 55 degrees today, and it's pretty nice to just have the door open and be able to do this in my driveway. It's awesome. So other than that, there's actually 2 ports on the bottom of the intake manifold as well that I had to drill and tap to 1/8 pipe thread. One of them I capped off, and one of them I ran a vacuum line, or I actually got, since I had a bunch of it laying around, I actually, instead of running just a piece of vacuum hose, I did get the air brake fittings and stuff from the shop, just because I really like using that stuff. It actually holds up pretty good to heat and stuff like that, and I've never had a boost leak or vacuum leak with any of these fittings with the push style connection on them. These are really cool because it's a fitting just like this, and then you buy the hose. I'm just gonna grab this scrap piece. You buy the hose, and all you do is push it in to the fitting, and it locks in. This is never gonna come out, so these connections are actually really cool. And then to remove it, you just push down on the blue collar. You just push down on the blue collar, and it pops off. So I like running that stuff. It seems to work really well. Unfortunately, I could not use it on the fuel pressure regulator because this fitting that's on the regulator is like pressed into the regulator itself. It's not like tapped or anything where you can put a fitting in it. Same with the brake booster line. I just ran some 6AN fuel hose off of that, tied it onto my fuel line, ran all the fuel lines down here, and then that taps into the brake booster valve and then into the booster itself. So like I said, one of the fittings down here that I tapped, I ran over to the blow-off valve. The other one I plugged, and then for the wastegate, I actually ran the line. Nice thing about the VS Racing wastegates is it gives you a lot of different ports to choose from, and I had them initially plumbed right through here, and it was really tight with the exhaust and stuff like that. The hose would have been really close to the turbo and stuff like that, and I didn't really like that idea, so I plugged that spot and I opened up another spot on the side where I ran the line back under. I ran the line back, you can see it right down there. I ran it back and around, and I tied it onto my fuel lines, and then I just ran it right into the intercooler pipe. So I just drilled and tapped this intercooler pipe for one of those push lock fittings, shoved it in, and now we have a boost reference to the bottom of the wastegate. Trying to think of anything else that I did. I put a new oil filter on. Oop. I gotta tighten that fucker up. It's super loose. But yeah, I'm gonna go through. I gotta put some bolts in the bottom of this mount right here because it only has these 2 bolts holding this whole mount. I actually might weld this mount too, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna try to just make this thing as solid as possible. So next order of business, I'm probably gonna get the bumper installed because I'm trying to clean up the garage a little bit from doing this project, and the bumper is like one of the last things still on the floor. So I feel like I should probably just put it on the car. Hopefully it fits. This bumper was already cut a little bit, so we're gonna see if it all fits with the piping and my side marker lights and stuff all installed. I actually ordered a front lip for this car as well because where the intercooler sits is slightly below the bumper line. So I got a front lip for it. It should actually look pretty nice when it's done, and it'll cover up the little spot on the bottom where you can kind of see the intercooler poking out. So I'm gonna get that installed. I don't know what else, honestly. I actually started the car earlier and I didn't film it, and I mixed up when I put the harness back together, or put the harness back on the car. I accidentally put the intake cam sensor on the exhaust and the exhaust cam sensor on the intake, and I was cranking it and I'm like, man, why the hell is this thing not firing? So I gave it a little bit of gas, and as soon as I gave it a little bit of gas, it backfired so loud that I thought my battery exploded, because I had a battery charger on it. I literally thought my battery exploded because it was so loud. It was like a 10 gauge shotgun in my ear. And my neighbor was outside and she's like, are you okay? Like, she was definitely concerned for me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm startled, but I'm not, you know, I'm not hurt or anything. It was just like totally unexpected. I didn't think that thing would backfire like that. So always remember, don't mix up your cam sensors, because it is very loud when it backfires. All right, guys, brought the Integra down to the gas station. Got it all filled up with fresh E85, and it's running great. The only thing I still have to figure out is my downpipe is really close to the brake lines, so I have to get that situated. I'm going to heat wrap the downpipe for the time being, and I might make like a little shield or something just to put between the downpipe and the brake lines. Like I said, it's pretty tight in there. But figured this video has gone on long enough. Give you guys a little quick clip of the car. I got my bumper installed, the front lip. But yeah, very happy with the car so far. Just have to fix a minor exhaust leak, because I did build a full exhaust in the driveway as well. And I used those over clamps, and I think one of them on the front side might be leaking a little bit. So I'm probably going to take it to the shop and get it on the lift so I can really see where it's leaking from. And then once I get the exhaust leak fixed, this thing is like ready to go, guys. The only problem too is the car is only on 2.5 pounds of boost right now. I put a little bit too small of a wastegate spring in it. I was kind of hoping for like 6 pounds on the wastegate, and then I can turn it with a controller from there. But 2.5 pounds might be a little too small. We'll see though. Very happy with it so far, like I said. And leave a like if you guys enjoy this thing and you want to see more of it. We'll do a driving video soon. I just want to get the little things buttoned up first. I don't know if I'll make a video on them or not, but maybe give you a quick clip out the back. It's got a muffler on it. This is a Skunk 2 3-inch exhaust all the way back. It sounds pretty good. Also got an oil pressure gauge installed. I got an AEM X series oil pressure along to go with my AEM wideband. So yeah, but this thing's running good. It's still on the same tune that was in it when I tuned it all motor. So it definitely needs some tuning. I'm probably going to put a little bigger injector in it and some other stuff coming soon. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow, and we will see you later.